Do you view them as fully valued, overvalued? They're certainly not cheap.
They're certainly not cheap, Tyler, but I'm going to say fully valued. You know, earnings have sort of kept up. I mean, after 2018, we had a strong surge. Stocks trading at about 17 and a half times earnings isn't really awful. I mean, it's not really overvalued, fully valued for sure. And the thing that I like about this market here, and you know I'm always cautious, but the thing that I like is that so many investors still seem to be nervous. They still seem to be very cautious. And as long as nerves and caution are out there, you typically don't see markets top.
Let's talk a little bit broadly about the economy, if we might, Jared. Michael points out that recession is never, ever really off the table completely, but he says it's not on the horizon either. How do you see it?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, and I would underscore the point that really none of us can see out more than, say, 3 months when it comes to accurately predicting a downturn. So all we can do is look at a set of indicators. I will say that I've long been more bullish than the average economist who was worrying about a recession 6 months ago when we had various hiccups. And the reason is one that you've been talking about a good deal today already, which is the strong American consumer. You know, we're 70% consumer spending in this economy. If you went over to Europe, you'd find that share would be 55%. In China, it's 45%. So it's not impossible to have a recession when you're looking at a strong consumer aided by low unemployment and rising real pay. But it's just harder. Now, you know, where a downturn could come from tends to be in recent cycles from the financial sector. And while there's always speculation going on, I don't see any obvious bubbles.
You know, Jared, a lot of the economic outlooks for next year are being tied to this trade story. We had Kellyanne Conway this morning saying a phase one deal will be reached before the end of the year. Let's say we don't get a phase one deal. Do you think there is a chance that President Trump will postpone the December 15th tariffs on China?
I think there's a pretty good chance of that, Seema. In fact, that's probably the scenario that I would place above 50%. I've been a skeptic of the phase one deal. These guys just can't get out of each other's way when it comes to this stuff. That said, Donald Trump is starting to recognize that his trade war is bumping into his reelection bid. It really is having negative impacts on manufacturing in the U.S. case. That's just pretty damn easy to see in the data. You know, I just looked at the numbers this morning. This year, manufacturers have been adding maybe around 5,000 jobs per month. Last year, it was 22,000. That's a big deal for some key areas for Trump voters.
Michael, let me turn back to you and maybe challenge a little bit what Jared just said. The tariffs may have an economic impact, but it would seem that they have not had much of an impact, if at all, on stock prices. The S&P is up 25% this year. The president pointed out in a tweet today that since his first tariff introduced, I guess was in early 2018, the market's up 21%. So we worry about trade, and on any given day, reaction to trade headlines are what is showing up in the numbers. Yeah. But over the longer haul, it doesn't look to me like stock investors are all that fatoutsed about it.
No, and they really haven't been. I mean, they have been episodically, Tyler. I think we should stipulate that nobody's done really well challenging Jared too much, so we have to do this very gently, I think.
Excellent point.
But look, the markets have gone. I mean, we're up 25% this year. I mean, we've gotten the whoops. We've got the whoops here today. So we're down 200 points. So short-term volatility has been in place. It has been driven by these headlines. It feels so stupid to me to have investors move 200 points and 300 points and 400 points on tweets that everything's going to work out and now it's not going to work out. I mean, we really do need to see the whites of their eyes. It does look like something's going to happen. And Jared's best point there, I think, was that, you know, this trade war is running into the president's reelection campaign, and I think that looks like it will prevail. More important, I think, is the new NAFTA, the USMCA deal. That's happening in Washington now, whether it passes in the Senate or not, but I think Nancy Pelosi gets that through the Congress. That's what I'm hearing in Washington before the end of the year. That's big.